Today we shall talk about Skullport, a city within a city. Located in the northern part of Faerun, at the mouth of the river Deseren, in the City of Splendors, Waterdeep. This metropolis is overshadowed by a small mountain called Mount Waterdeep. And below this mountain lies a long-lost dwarven city. At the bottom of this dungeon we find Skullport. Skullport is a harbour around 700 acres wide and 3 levels tall. It is the most well-known trades town in the Underdark and contains some of Faerun's most shady characters. But how has such a place come to exist so close to Waterdeep? To understand the history of Skullport, we need to understand the history of Undermountain, a vast dungeon controlled by an ancient wizard for over 1,000 years. Almost 1300 years before Dale Reckoning, the dwarves of Malorkin found Mithril in the mountains near Alifandar. While dwarves and elves never got along well, active trade created by Malarbode made both cities prosper. The elves destroyed their metropolis 200 years after the founding of Malarbode, but the dwarven city was unaffected. The dwarves continued to carve out a home as well as mine for Mithril while battling an ongoing war with practically anything and everything from the Underdark. The dwarves never breached the Wall of Sargot, this cave system that was to become Skullport. But still, they played a vital role in its creation. Around 400 years before the fall of Nephril, and 800 years before Dale Reckoning, the Sargot Enclave was established. At this time, Nephril was expanding quickly and needed a place outside the prying eyes. 13 of Nephril's most powerful wizards, along with a group of apprentices, created the Mythholder and started the investigation of elven mantle magic. The location of the enclave we assume was chosen due to the closeness of the ruins of Alifandar, a city once known for its powerful mantle. We think the enclave was placed underground to avoid intervention by the Ilfar and Erlan. Nephril at this point had a tenuous relationship with the elven nations, and could not afford an all-out war. Sargoth was a good investment for Nephril. They quickly understood the fundamentals of elven mantle magic, and they built upon this with their own Mythholder magic. The Enclave remained untouched from the politics and wars in Nephril, but no one was safe when Karsus made this tragic mistake. When Nephril fell, the Mythholder of Sargot failed in the most horrific ways. The cave collapsed on itself, and every Arcanist in the Enclave was killed outright. In a twist of fate, the mantle magic that was the focus of the outpost set out to protect the Arcanist. But with the weave disrupted, the mantle magic twisted and warped. The 13 Arcanists now rose up as undead, forever trapped in the Mythholder's range. The dwarves of Malarbode were not impacted when magic failed, but their end too was nigh. In the year of Purloined Power, the dwarves lost their first major battle with the Drow, and their downfall began. In the year of Scattered Stars, a mage known as Lord Hilfer settled on top of Malarbode, along with his 7 apprentices. This was long before Waterdeep, and at the time the town of Nemor's Hold was located close by. The townsfolk, as well as Lord Hilfer, were unaware of the events that were unfolding below their feet. In the year of Spoiled Splendors, the Drow finally completed their control over the Malachur clan. Lord Hilfer, now known as Halaster Blackcloak, soon discovered what lay beneath his feet, and started a campaign to clear out competition. Halaster summoned up devils and demons and bound them to his will, and sent them into Undermountain to destroy the Drow, or die trying. By the year of the Cascade, Halaster had full control. Halaster must have known about Sargot Enclave, but he never entered, nor sent anyone in on his behalf. We suspect that Halaster knew what was hiding in there, and respected it enough not to disturb it. It might also be that the undead Arcanists were shielding the Enclave, preventing him from entering. For whatever reason, close to 1400 years the Enclave is left untouched by mortal hands. In the year of the Angry Sea, a wizard named Shraden and Mulopor came to Undermountain. Shraden, a former Neferese wizard, must have been viewed as an impressive man by Halaster, as he was granted full access and full domain over Sargot Enclave. We don't know much about Shraden. We know he was from Nephril, but he was only 60 when Nephril fell, and he didn't leave much of an impact on the history books. It's also unknown if Shraden knew about Sargot, or if it was the Enclave that drew Shraden to it. After Shroudin, Skullport was open to trade. Darrow, Illithids, Duger, and even Drow came to the Port of Shadows to trade. Peace was kept by Shroudin and the skulls of the 13 Arcanists, a commodity that few other places in the Underdark could offer. Within 25 years, Skullport has grown from a few caverns where trade was done to a fully secured settlement. Slavers, smugglers, assassins, and other illicit tradesmen now flock to the city to peddle their wares. At this point, the Port of Shadows is the most important trade hub in the Underdark, along with Montal Derret. Before Skullport, trade between deep races was an extremely dangerous experience, but now Illithids could trade with deep gnomes and only seldom would blood be shed. Skullport also attracted the attention of certain power groups, and by the year of the Gauntlet, over 15 power groups had a foothold in town. The Harpers, allied with the Church of Elistray as well as the Lords of Waterdeep, could go head to head against the Kraken Society, their allies in the Zentarim, and the Church of Zurich. In the years leading up to the Spell Plague, much happened to Skullport. Shroudin was killed by the Skulls. Hollister left Undermountain, and several groups fought to fill the power vacuum. Skullport fell apart during the Spell Plague, another crash to equal that of Nephril's fall. For generations, Skullport was doomed, but in recent years, outlooks have begun to change. Young explorers have started telling tales of Nephril's artifacts, and mithril veins have been uncovered close to the ruins of Skullport. Skullport's population is on the rise again, and the forces that once ruled will now rule again. And it comes as no surprise, the Skulls remain, as silent and vigilant as ever.